Hey everybody, welcome back to Dollars and Cents, the show where we discuss the business of football with Andrew Brandt of the National Football Post. Always a very interesting and intriguing conversation. As always, Andrew, nice to have you back. How are you, pal?
All right, Sid, doing well. Good to be with you again.
Thank you very much. Now, the Colts and the Saints both sitting pretty at 13-0, both, by the way, on NFL Network this week, with the Colts coming up later on tonight and the Saints taking on Dallas on Saturday. Yet, despite the many contract extensions we've seen for quarterbacks this season, Peyton Manning and Drew Brees have not gotten new deals yet, Andrew. I want you to put yourself in Jim Irsay or Tom Benson's shoes. Would it be better to get a deal done now or wait until there's more solid footing with the CBA?
Well, I think Jim Irsay is on record with Peyton saying, obviously, he's their most valuable player, if not the most valuable player in the whole league. They're going to do something. The question is when, and the question is how much. I think I'm with him in terms of we're now into the season. We're into this undefeated run. We're into this Super Bowl run that they're going to have. So I think they'll put it off. I think it won't happen before the end of the season. It won't happen before the end of January. It may not even happen by the Super Bowl. But it would be a major shock if we go into 2010, Peyton's last year of his monster deal he signed in 2004, without an extension. That would be a major surprise. He'll get one. And he'll get one that'll surpass his brother's one that came in August. And right after Eli did his, Phillip Rivers did his. Those two were monster deals. I mean, they were both the top picks in the 2004 draft. And they got $35 and $38 million guaranteed respectively, $51 and $53 million over the first 3 years. They kind of set the market. So now Tom Condon, who did Eli's deal, goes in to talk about Eli's older brother, and he's got a floor right there of $52 million over 3 years. So it's going to be huge, Sid. I mean, Peyton's going to get a deal that will surpass every deal in the league, certainly, and we'll just see how high and when it comes.
What about Tom Brady? He ends up somewhere in the middle of Eli and Peyton?
He'll be right up there, too. You know, my sense is they're taking a little bit more wait-and-see approach, and that's a different organization with the Patriots. You know, I would not be shocked, as I would with Peyton, if he goes into his last year without a deal. Obviously, it'll ramp up some rumbling in the media that Tom Brady's playing in the last year of his contract. How could this happen? But as we talk about, there is so much uncertainty about the CBA. There's not even clear whether we're going to have football in 2011. So Brady might be a little bit different situation, whether he goes into 2010 without a deal or not. My guess is the Patriots are going to have to address him at some point because, like we just talked about, the two A-list players and the third one we'll talk about in a minute with Drew aren't going into their last year of their deals, and that's really kind of a surprise in football.
Last week we discussed the NFL's decision to scrap the league revenue sharing program here, Andrew. The league says it's a small fraction of its income, but last I checked, 100 million big ones is 100 million big ones. A special master rule will come here soon. Give us your prediction for how this whole thing is going to shake out. How's this going to work out, Andrew?
Well, its interpretation of the agreement back in March of 2006, the collective bargaining agreement, it's really unclear from reading it. You know, it depends who you talk to. According to the league, it's very clear that the supplemental revenue sharing ends with the salary cap, meaning we have no salary cap in 2010, therefore no revenue sharing in 2010. Now, let's be clear. 2010 will get revenue sharing based on the revenue of 2009. So the low revenue teams will get money next year. The question is whether the basing it off 2010 will get money to teams in 2011. And again, teams like to plan ahead to see if they're going to have money. They need to know these things. Is it going to affect their spending in 2010? Certainly, if you knew you were getting 5, 10, 15 million the next year, it would affect how you operate this year. So that's the issue. The union claims, hey, wait a minute. Supplemental revenue sharing goes through the end of the collective bargaining agreement, which is through 2010, so they should get money in 2011. Again, we're looking a couple years forward here, but with so much uncertainty, this is something teams have to know. So it goes in front of an arbitrator probably in the next week, and we'll see where he rules. It's something that it's hard to predict how he'll interpret the agreement, but my sense is everybody's going to be looking for a new deal anyway by the start of 2011, so we'll see what happens.
Andrew, we keep hearing about how the union wants the league to open up the books to show how its financial situation is not what it once was. Why is Commissioner Goodell so adamant against doing that? It almost seems like there is something to hide here.
Yeah, you wonder about transparency. That's the big issue right now with Congress, with the TARP program, with all these banks folding, with Citibank and Bank of America. Everyone wants transparency, and that's not coming from the NFL. Listen, I was in 9 years as part of the only team in the league that had to show its books, the Green Bay Packers. And when we would show our books, and we'd make anywhere $10 million one year, $15 million, $20 million a profit, $25 million a profit one year. And Gene Upshaw would walk into meetings holding up that book and saying, look at the Packers, making $20 million, the smallest market in the NFL by far. And I would always tell Gene, hey, we're a little different here. The Packers have a unique following. I'm not so sure any other team, regardless of how big their city is going to have this kind of following that we have here in Green Bay. So I'm not sure exactly why the league is afraid of opening its books, but it's something they have a proprietary right to do. They don't have to show their money to anyone, and they're trying to get a new deal. Maybe they don't want to show some things.
Roger Goodell seems to be secretive about a couple of things these days, but that's okay. He's got himself quite a business with the National Football League. Andrew, as always, tremendous insight, always a very interesting conversation. We'll see you again next week right here on Dollars and Cents at theNFPost.com and OpenSports.com. Great job. Thank you so much, Andrew.
Thanks, Sid. Always enjoy it. Talk to you next week.
Me too. Thank you very much. Remember, you can also follow Andrew on Twitter. He's at AD Brandt, and catch all of his great writing, and it is great, at NFPost.com. For my friend Andrew Brandt, I'm Sid Rosenberg. As always, folks, enjoy the football. We'll see you next week right here on Dollars and Cents.